Welcome to day 3 of Defeat Depression with Diet. It's still me, Bridget McGrath, registered dietitian. How you doing? So let's get into it. Today is about stress management with special guest, Dr. Michael Roizen, who's an anesthesiologist. Oh, he's got some pearls. The guy's just wise. He kind of specializes in longevity. So like not just living long, but how to live well. So make sure you are registered at defeatdepressiondiet.com, if you didn't come in that way, to make sure that you get the email with the link to the interview. So let's jump into it. Stress management. What the heck do I mean, right? By stress. There is good stress and there is bad stress, and it's kind of on a curve. This is kind of like how psychologists graph it. So good stress is like it keeps you engaged in life. It keeps you motivated. It sharpens your focus, makes you perform better and care about performing better. Bad stress is when we start getting into like cranky, it's affecting sleep. Our sympathetic nervous system is too activated and we're never getting to like a calm kind of state. So like when it starts to kick into anxiety, when it starts to kick into panic, and you just eventually burn out because the nervous system is just, it's a finite resource. So it's like, I got it. No, I don't got it no more. So like you want to maintain yourself on like the good side of good and bad stress. And this is what I was talking about with the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So these are both your stress responses, right? But sympathetic nervous system is when all systems are go. Like you're like you are fight or flight. You're all the blood flow like pulls into the center of your body from your extremities. So no more blood flow to the GI tract to help digestion go in because you don't want to poop on the run, and you also don't want to pee your pants on the run. So sympathetic nervous system is, I see bear. I'm in Tahoe, so bears are a thing. So I'm going to use bears. Okay, so like you see the bear on the porch, right? Whoa! What's what am I doing? There's a bear. All of the things that are happening inside your body are that fight or flight response. Hopefully you're not going to fight because you'll lose with the bear. But your flight response is the sympathetic nervous system activating. Okay, let's say you stay in that state for a really long time. That's when it starts to become a problem. Obviously, you see the bear, you need to do something. You can make sure the door's closed at least. So like the sympathetic nervous system is important and you need it. You just don't want it on all the time. You want to be able to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is calm. So sympathetic is bear, and parasympathetic is I don't care, the bear comes. What are you going to do? I don't know why I went Eastern European accent on that one. So the sympathetic nervous system, that's what I'm going to kind of focus on for the next little bit, is that fight or flight. If you're in it too often, it starts to become a problem. It wears out your nervous system. There's this coating in the nervous system. It's called myelin. It's basically like the broadband of your nervous system, right? It's comprised of essential fatty acids, and then we'll get into like why we should be eating good fats to support the myelin in your body. Magnesium and other things help with that. But let's say that you're starting to burn out and it's getting kind of frayed. What happens? GI issues, because the blood flow is robbed of the gut, it's going more toward the center of the body. Skin issues, again, because the blood flow is not going to the extremities, it's staying closer to your heart. Irritation, crankiness, loss of sleep, anxiety, headaches, depression. You get burned out. You start to become apathetic because you only had so much bandwidth. And you're like, finally, by the end, you're too exhausted to care because the sympathetic nervous system was just activated all the time. Now, there are people that are able to conquer that. There are people that are able to activate their parasympathetic nervous system. Navy SEALs would be one of them. To anybody in a stressful job, firemen, nurses, doctors. So like, what are they doing? They tend to be resilient people So, like, what's the benefit of that? Well, resilient people, they tend to be more optimistic. They tend to have a good perspective. They tend to not take things personally. They keep it moving because they're thinking of the outcome. So, like, ideally, that would be a better space to be in because you're going to burn out otherwise, right? So, I'm not a fan of Cigna, but I really like this acronym. It's kind of a handy acronym. So, Cigna, what are we going to do? Okay, so this, like, how to develop that resilience, right? That's kind of what this acronym is all about. Grounding yourself in this situation, I think they were just looking for a G there, but basically what that means is perspective. What can you control and what can't you control? And always be thinking of your desired outcome. So, like, don't get stuck in the moment. Think of, okay, where do I want to be? Is this going to get me where I want to go? Or is this a freaking waste of time? So, like, that perspective or that outlook, that's what they're talking about with the G there. And another thing that, like, I would say in the, grounding yourself in this situation is, like, recognize things for what they are. Like, if you're taking it personally and if you're internalizing it, and you're not going to get to where you want to go. So just recognizing life isn't fair. And there's going to be moments where you're just like, okay, this sucks. But if you focus on the problem rather than the solution, you get mired in it. And you just start digging the hole and the dirt's hitting you on the head and it's a whole thing. And who wants that? So that's what I would say, for instead of G. Anyway, recognizing what you can and cannot control. Another thing I would add to this too is managing your expectations. So, like, when you can't control somebody else's reaction, right? You can't control if they're gonna show up, if they're gonna, like, kick ass, and people are going to disappoint you. There's always going to be that person in customer service that has no business being in customer service. Why are there always terrible people in customer service? Anyway, if you have spectrum, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, recognizing what you control and managing the expectation. If you go in expecting baseline, then, hey, you're pleasantly surprised when you get a really good customer service person and they give you a coupon. You're like, hey, where'd you come from? So that's what I would say about the recognizing what you can control and organizing your resources. This is basically like planning ahead or being proactive, which I absolutely agree with. But I'm a control freak, so that makes sense. So, like, I like to have all my ducks in a row, and then less shit falls apart. And then when it does fall apart, I get a plan B. I'm like, oh, that's fine. I allowed for this. Working with support or community, absolutely. Everybody needs a support network. And I'm not talking about, like, I don't know, the girls come, every Thursday for book club. I'm talking about people that build you up, people that make you want to be the best version of you. Now, ideally, that's in your personal relationship, significant other is doing that, but your friends as well. So, like, dump the junk food, dump the junk people. The people that trigger you, protect yourself from that. Keep that to a minimum. Now, another really good acronym is one that Dr. Roizen is going to give us in the interview. His is 3 Ps. But I have to look at my cheat sheet because I always forget what his 3 Ps are. Posse, purpose, and play. Posse is that support group. Like, and I like the word posse because it's more than just support group. It's like, no, those are your peeps, those are your, like, touch your heart, touch your head kind of peeps. Purpose is, again, like that desired outcome. You keep it moving when you're looking toward that desired outcome. And play is, like, always make time for you and for pleasure. Because if you're just work, again, nervous system, finite resource, you're going to burn yourself out and you're just looking for trouble there. Now, I would add a couple of P's to Dr. Roizen's P's. I would say perspective is critical. Your mindset is critical. Like, making the best of bad situations is huge for building resilience. And going in, again, with that managed expectation of, I know this person is always late. I'm not going to be disappointed when they're late because I already knew that they were going to be late. That not like putting more on people than they're capable of. Like they're not you. So their story is their own story, and just assume everybody has their own baggage, that the reason they ripped your face off wasn't because of you. And so try not to take it personally. They've got their own shit going on, and like just recognize, hey, they're probably having a bad day that doesn't have anything to do with me. So like that perspective really helps. And I would also say again about the protecting yourself and your personal time, protecting yourself from triggers. So like, a person pushes your buttons. Like if you're like me, it's your mom, and every time she's calling, she's bringing drama, and there's going to be some sort of drama thing, and you don't need drama in your life, and you hate drama, and why? So knowing that going in and keeping it short. So like, that's what I do with my mom. I'm like, you're this, I want this. So that helps a lot. And definitely keep it moving. Just always looking toward your desired outcome. Just keep it moving. Don't get mired in the problem. Keep your eye on the solution. So that brings us to, okay, what can we do to activate parasympathetic nervous as opposed to sympathetic? So how do we act or like deactivate that stress response? How do we get back to calm? Again, I gotta make myself small because I'm kind of interfering with this window. This is box breathing, and this is what Navy SEALs do. A lot of military cops, firemen, but I think it's the Navy SEALs that developed this. It is an excellent regimen. I actually prefer 777. I don't know. I was a swimmer, so 4 seconds isn't quite long enough for me for an inhale or an exhale. But anyway, do you? So it's breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, holding for 4. More like a relaxation thing. Proven. There have been studies on this where they have measured heart rate pre-breathing exercise and then measured heart rate post-breathing exercise within 5 minutes. Heart rate has gone from the 140s back into the 80s and 90s. So like proven to work, which brings me to that is today's mini challenge, is practicing this breathing exercise. So you are going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4. And I'm talking 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, hold for 4. Or you can do my method if you have a little bit more pulmonary capacity. Breathe in for 7, hold for 7, breathe out for 7. Doesn't matter. Do you. Do whatever your box looks like, do your box. But it can be done anywhere and nobody needs to know. So you can be sitting at your desk, you see your boss heading towards you, and you know he's coming over and he's going to say, where's the CPS reports? If you've ever seen Office Space, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you see that guy coming. He's going to make you work on Saturday. So like in preparation for him coming so that you don't like say something off of the top of your head that's going to get you in trouble, or like bite his head off, or to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, do the breathing while that guy is walking like he's got not a care in the world and all the time in the world, because your time is what's making for it. So anyway, do the box breathe while he's on his way. I swear to you, that will be such a better interaction. And don't forget to protect yourself. So know that he's a trigger and be prepared. So this is today's mini challenge. Practice the breathing, get really good at it so that you can just click that on whenever you need it. Now, make sure that you are registered for the Defeat Depression Diet, because right after this comes our interview with Dr. Michael Roizen. He's got other pearls. He's such a wise guy. So stay tuned for the interview. And tomorrow, day 4, will be about exercise. Is all exercise created equal? What's good and what's bad? Okay, we'll talk about that. Stay tuned for the interview.